So here we are again to discuss about the defining relative clauses and non-defining relative clauses. Don't forget to learn English every day because it is the only way that you can have the fluency and understand how to use the grammatical structures in the daily communications. In the defining relative clauses, we discuss about essential information. When it is essential, it is really important. Without the informations, so the sentence is not complete. Look at now the example. The man lives next door. He is very friendly. Now, here the green word like the man and he are the two similar persons. So they can be combined into one defining relative clause. Like the man who lives next door is very friendly. Now here, who is used because the function is the subject of the sentence. We know a lot of people. They live in London. Here, a lot of people is the object of the sentence and they is the subject of the sentence. A lot of people and they are the two similar objects or the two similar people or two similar words or expressions. So they can be used into sentence like we know a lot of people who live in London. A lot of people is still the object and they here is changed to be who because the function of they here is the subject of the sentence. We use who or that in a relative clause when we are talking about people. Remember who or that here for people. What about if we talk about things or something, not people, like a book, like a pen, like a refrigerator or anything? We are not living, so we use noun. Here is which or that. Where are the eggs? This is one example. They are or they were in the fridge. They and the eggs are two similar expressions. So here the sentence into where are the eggs that were in the fridge. That is used as the replacement of they as the subject were in the fridge. The window has now been repaired. It was broken. The window here is the subject of the sentence and it is also a subject of the sentence, and the two sentences are combined into the window which or that was broken has now been repaired. So which or that here is the replacement of the window and it here. The next thing that we need to discuss is defining relative clauses cannot be omitted. What does it mean? The use of who and that in the sentences cannot be deleted. They are crucial or they are necessary or important because sometimes who and that are the objects. Is it still possible? Yes, if that is the case, it is possible. So who or that can leave. We can leave them out. So it can be out of the constructions. Like what? Like this. The man was on holiday. I wanted to see him. Him and the man are two similar expressions. The man I wanted to see was on holiday. See, right? There is no the use of who or there is no use of that in the sentence. Here they can be omitted or they can be deleted or we cannot use them in these expressions. Have you found the keys? You lost them. The keys and them are two similar expressions. Have you found the keys you lost? See now here there's no use of who or that. Remember, I repeat. Who or that are the subjects in the relative clause. They cannot be omitted, like the man who. Where are the eggs that were in the fridge? So that here is the subjects. Who here is the subject. But when who or that, the objects of the verb in the relative clause, we can leave them out. Have you found the keys? Keys here is what? This is the object. The man I wanted to see. The man I wanted to see the man. So the man is what? It is the object. The next one, we need to know the defining relative clauses, the use of whose instead of his, her, or their, because in defining relative clauses like whose to show belonging or possession, whom for the object of the verb, or where to talk about the places, they can be used to make the sentence in the relative clauses. Like we show some people, their car broke down. Here, people and there, the two similar expressions. Like we show some people whose car broke down. So whose here is the replacement of there. Because there here is what? There here is the possession to show the belongings. Who has the car? It's there, same as people. So whose is the use here. The next one, whom, when it is the object of the verb in the relative clause. Like the man was on a holiday, we wanted to see him. Him and the man are the two similar expressions. The man whom we wanted to see was on a holiday. So whom is not often used in the expressions, but in spoken English, better to use who or that. Or you just leave them out. The next one with where. Where to talk about places. The hotel wasn't very clean, we stayed there. So the hotel and there are the two similar expressions. They can be combined into one defining relative clause like the hotel where we stayed wasn't very clean. This is the exercise to make you understand all of the use of the relative clauses in the defining or non-defining relative clauses. Like this, where are the people, they promise to visit you. This is the station, you can get the train to Madrid there. Tell me about your neighbor, his car has been stolen there 3 times. I saw her on Sunday, we were studying in the library then. I'm sure I know the man, she is talking to him. She wrote a poem. I describe her feelings about the news. So here the red color, the expressions, all of them as the answers. Like this, the use of the defining relative clauses. Next, we discuss about the non-defining relative clauses. What is the non-defining relative clauses? Because it is non-defining, it doesn't give definition. Because it doesn't give definition, it is just non-essential information. What is non-essential information? It is just extra information, and the extra information is not quite necessary, or it is not quite important for the people to know or to get into. It doesn't change the meaning at all. That's the meaning. Okay, we have to use who for people, which for things. Then there is no that here. That is not used in the non-defining, and you cannot leave out who or which. It's different, right? In defining, non-defining. And after that, you have to put commas at the beginning and at the end. In defining, there is no comma. In defining, that is possibly used. In defining, we can leave out who or which. But in non-defining, it doesn't work. Look at now this. We move to the exercises. The man over there is an artist. I don't remember his name. His name and the man are the two similar expressions. So is that necessary about the information? No, because whose name I don't remember is not quite necessary. Because the man is an artist. This is the man. The man is an artist is the most important expression here. whose name I don't remember, is just extra information. By putting comma after the man and in the end of the relative clause, it makes these expressions non-defining relative clause. Anna's friend came to visit her last month. She lives in Italy. So she and Anna's friend are the two similar expressions and combined into the non-defining relative clause by putting comma here after Anna's friend and comma after in Italy. So who lives in Italy, just to show extra information about Anna's friend. Working Girl was a famous film in the 80s. I first saw it in the USA. So it and Working Girl, there's two similar expressions. So Working Girl, which I first saw in the USA, was a famous film in the 80s, which I first saw in the USA, just extra information about the Working Girl. That is the reasons placing comma here and comma after in the USA. It happens the same thing for Pedro. In my class is Rosa's boyfriend. Pedro, who is in my class, is Rosa's boyfriend. That's comma after Pedro and after my class. Yesterday we went to Anna's party. We enjoyed it very much. Yesterday we went to Anna's party, and there's a comma here which we enjoyed very much. In non-defining relative clauses, you can use prepositions here. Okay, in defining also. But here the prepositions normally with whom or with which. When you think it is for people, or when you think which for things, like to whom, with whom, about which, or for which, and etc. Like the examples here, this is a photograph of our friends. We went on holidays with them. So with them and our friends, the two similar expressions. The sentence now is, this is a photograph of our friends, comma, with whom. So here is with whom we went on holidays. With whom we went on holidays, just extra information about our friends. Mr. Smith is very interested in our plant. Full stop, that is one sentence. I spoke to him last night. This is the second sentence. So the two sentences are possibly combined or joined into non-defining relative clause into Mr. Smith with comma. To whom I spoke last night, comma, because to whom I spoke last night is just extra information and it is not quite necessary, is very interested in our plan. Mr. Smith, or this is the second example, Mr. Smith, comma, who I spoke to is very interested in our plan, but this is in spoken English. The next one, our wedding took place last Friday. Only members of the family were invited to it. So it and our wedding is, there are two similar expressions. Our wedding with comma to which only members of the family were invited took place last Friday. What about this? You see now on screen now is the table, the two comparisons of the defining and non-defining relative clauses. Look at now the underlying expressions and you try to see the differences. Here there is who, which, whose, where, when, and that. But here when you see who, which, whose, where, and when, but there is no that. Here you can see the underlying expressions without comma, no comma, because it is defining. So the underlying expressions are very necessary, quite essential to give informations to the red expressions, the red words like lawyer, right, friend, workplace, and then day. But here, the underlined expressions is non-defining with all comma. You can see comma after prince, comma after white, comma after friend, comma after place, comma after time. Why? Because the underlined expression are just extra informations, not quite necessary for these relative clauses. Thank you. That's all for this explanation. Thank you for your watching. See you.